Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make the Subculture palette work. This is a palette that's kind of died down as far as popularity and drama and criticisms go. I know that for sure, but I think that there's something to be said about the people that did purchase this palette and still have issues with it trying to make this palette work. I have consistently tried to use it in some of my tutorials to show you guys how to use it, but I decided to sit down and just do a complete video dedicated to the types of brushes to use, what pressure to put on your brushes for the shadows, how to make the shadows blend together, and what kind of color theory to go with for the colors themselves. When I purchased this palette, I thought that it was going to be something that I would have to throw away, and for a lot of people that don't have a lot of money and don't have a big budget for makeup, I think that it's kind of upsetting to get something that you don't know what to do with. And I think that a lot of people don't know how to use all the colors together in the palette, so I wanted to do also a video that was going to show how to use all the colors together. Since it wasn't my favorites video, I kind of wanted to show everybody why it was one of my favorites. And I am not a professional makeup artist either, so these are kind of very simplified, easy tips that anybody can follow that has a couple of brushes in their repertoire. So yeah, if you'd like to see how to make the Subculture palette work, then please keep on watching. And also the nail color that I have on today is a nice cool toned matte nude. It is the color All Eyes on Nudes by Essie, and it's branded as a cashmere matte, so it does have a matte finish. And I really love this color. I think that it almost looks like I have nothing on, but it gives that nice soft cool gray undertone of nude. I think it pairs well with a lot of different outfits and makeup looks as well, so I think it's that nice, like, you know, wintry nude. And also just remember, if you're going to do a top coat, to do something that is a matte top coat as opposed to a glossy one, or else you're going to lose that matte look. Yeah, that's the nail polish that I'm wearing today. I wanted to do more, you know, showing you guys what I'm wearing and stuff like that to kind of, you know, create a little bit more of a fun dimension to my videos. So if you guys enjoy that, just let me know. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
So I am starting off barefaced because the Subculture palette has a lot of fallout, and I'm just using my favorite primer, and this one is really going to cover up all of the darkness and other issues on your eyes because it is a concealer, and you really want to make sure that you're using something that's very tacky, very sticky, so that everything sticks onto it properly and also blends very well. And then you also want to make sure that you blend it properly and that you set it so that when the powders go on top, that they don't get very streaky and cakey on top of your lid. So I just set that with the RCMA No Color powder on my Sonia Kashuk flat brush. Then, to make sure that everything is dried down, I touch my eyes a little bit and we are ready to go. So for the first color, I'm going to go in with Dawn on my Morphe M330, and this is extremely fluffy and it's very large. And once you take that color onto the brush, you're going to want to make sure that you kick off the excess, either by tapping it onto your desk or anything like that, or just tapping it off with your fingers. And then I don't really go too heavy with this, but I do spread it from outer corner to inner corner in the crease. And I don't really focus too much on circular motions, I just do windshield wiper because it is so pigmented. And then to kind of build up the crease, I take the shade New Wave, and I think this crown brush is discontinued, so I did put the Morphe replacement that closely matches this fluffiness and density. And same thing, I just tap off the excess, and then you could see that my brush doesn't really move too much because I'm not putting too much pressure on it when I go into the crease, and I kind of just lay it flat on top of the eye, not really going in at a 90-degree angle, but more so at, like, I want to say a 45-degree angle. Very technical, but really just flat against the base. And then I go in with a little bit deeper color with the Morphe M441 and the shade Roxy, and this is a little bit stiffer but still a nice blending brush, and I really knock off like all the excess on this because I only want a hint of the color. And then I also grab my trusty makeup rag and I tap off some of the excess as well, and just going in with the same motions but starting to do a little bit more circular because we have a little bit less shadow on the brush, and that's going to go all up in the crease, and because it's a little bit smaller and precise, we're just going to really mesh it with all of the transition colors and start building up the shadows. After building it up, then I'm going in with my more standout colors, which is going to be first All Star on my Morphe M513, and this is very small but also very fluffy, so we're just going to softly pack this onto the outer corner and then blend up into the crease. When you're doing the darker shades in the Subculture palette, I noticed that you really need to press them on and then blend them out, so it's good to take a nice fluffy brush or even a flat brush, then place it down and then kind of blend it into the crease colors or any lighter colors that you have in the palette that you already put on your eye, just to make it have a more seamless blend. And then I go in with Fudge on this flat shader brush from Real Techniques, and then I press that right next to All Star to kind of get that brown smoky effect. And for this one, I really am just kind of packing it on and doing very minimal blending, because I had a little bit of a mishap where I had kind of the skipping that everybody complains about with the Subculture palette on the right eye. So I kind of have to fix that up, but it's really not that difficult because all you have to do is just place down the color really flat and try not to blend it too much, and then go in with the other colors and then blend it out into the crease so that it looks better. Then on this Crown C420 brush and the shade Rowdy, which is the darkest color in the palette, I just use the angled tip to kind of press that and pack that onto the outer corner, and then because it has that little bit of fluffiness to it, I kind of use that to blend everything out. And then using my other brushes, I kind of try to make sure that all of the colors are blended together, and I'm not putting really any pressure on this brush, kind of going in more at like a 60-degree angle to make sure that it's still all blended. And then I just use a flat brush for the shade Cube on the inner corner. And I do have to admit, this color is very weird. People have said that it's weird, and I agree. It has like a pink sheen to it, but it's really not that shimmery. It's kind of odd, but I do like it as kind of that subtle iridescence, and it looks nice on the inner corner. Then I just go in with a little bit of concealer. This is a technique I did in my Instagram baddie tutorial where I put concealer on first, and then I go in with my foundation and all my face products just so that I could finish up the lower lash line. So I just blend that out with a small blending brush, and then this is a Sonia Kashuk Duo Fiber blending brush, and I take my RCMA powder to kind of set the area so that everything blends properly. Then I'm going in with the shade Edge on my Morphe M433. This is kind of a flat blending brush, and I'm doing a little bit of an opposite thing that I normally do. I'm starting out with my lightest color with the biggest brush for the lower lash line to kind of get that base color down as a transition, and then kind of going in with my more darker colors afterwards. So don't worry if you go down too far with this and you look a little bit sick from the yellowness. It's really just to kind of get that base color down to build up that kind of transitional phase. Then I take the shade Axis with a pencil brush and just go right into the lash line with this, kind of building up the definition and kind of adding a different color story to the lower lash line. There's a little less rhyme or reason to this. It's kind of just basically doing what I normally do with all shadows because the lower lash line doesn't really have that much difficulty blending things out. And so I just go in with Untamed, which is kind of the same color tone as Axis, which is that like green bluish undertone, and a small blending brush from e.l.f. and just glide that right next to the darker Axis color so we could finally mix it in with the Edge color. Then I take the shade Electric, which is a nice shimmery color, on this little pencil brush, and I put that in the inner corner. It's another weird color, but definitely not as strange as Cube. But yeah, a nice shimmer on the inner corner, and then I go and do all their other makeup off camera.
And this is the finished look. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned a little bit on how to use this palette. I definitely found that it is very challenging to work with. There's a bit of a learning curve to it. I hope you guys now know what kind of stuff to do and what brushes to use to kind of make this palette work for you if you did purchase it. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and also comment on things that you want to see and maybe some tips that you've learned while you've been using this palette as well. Also subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!